Hi, I'm Cal Van Doren, an application engineer with AGI, and today I'm going to show off templates within the Operator's Toolbox plugin. So templates are a great way for you to be able to bring in all of the scenarios and all of the objects that you might use on a regular basis. And what templates allow you to do is to take large portions of scenarios that you've built. Maybe you spent a long time building up a certain set of facilities or a certain coverage definition that you use all the time in your operational environment or in the analysis that you do. You can use templates to save off all of that configuration and then bring it into other scenarios at different time periods and still have all of your objects and all of your codependencies between your objects saved. So to show that off, I'm going to show a cool coverage definition scenario that I've built and how I can turn that into a template and then bring it in at different times in different scenarios and have all of the legwork already done for me instead of having to redefine everything. So getting into SDK, I have a whole constellation of ground sites that I've defined, and these are optical and radar trackers that I'm using to observe the geobelt. So then I also have a coverage definition defined out at the geobelt, which defines or will tell me how many assets are covering each portion of the geobelt at any given time. And if I go ahead and animate through this, I can see that my coverage definition is updating as the geometries change and my optical trackers lose sunlight. So now let's say that I want to always be able to bring this coverage definition and all of these facilities into a scenario that I create at a different time period, or to bring them in for situational awareness when I've created a whole other scenario with a whole set of different objects. What I can do is then turn it into a template, and that makes that process very easy. So I have Operator's Toolbox open over here, and my very top button is Templates. If I open that up and hit the green plus icon to create a new template, what I need to do is select my template name. I'll go ahead and just call this GeoBelt. And then I can select the available objects that I want to move over into my template. What's important to note here is that if you have any objects that build on other objects, you need to add them in the correct order. So if I have, for example, a constellation, I have my default sensor cadence optical and radar constellations. I need to make sure that I add each of the facilities with those trackers on them before I add the constellations into my template. That order is very important. So what I'm going to do here is make sure that as I add these, that the order is consistent. So I see all of my stations are at the top of my available objects list, so I'll go ahead and shift select and add those over to the right. Now in order, I have all of my stations, and all of the trackers that are associated with those stations will be attached to their parent object. So in my template, all I need to do is add the stations, and all of the trackers or transmitters or antenna, whatever you might have on those objects, will be transferred over to the template. Next, I'll go ahead and add my two constellations, my optical and radar constellations. And then last, I'll add my coverage definition. And that's because the constellations incorporate the stations, so I need the stations first. But then the coverage definition will use the constellations. So I need to make sure I have the constellations added before I add the coverage definition. So I'll add the coverage definition last. And now all I need to do is just hit Save Template. And I now have my GeoBelt template saved off into my templates area. So what I'll do to demonstrate what this template can do for me is I'll go ahead and fully delete everything in my scenario. And I'll change my time period on my scenario. So I was in 19th of May, 2021. What if I just change this by 2 years into the future? So now I've fully changed the time period on my scenario. This is to demonstrate what it might be like if you were working on a completely different scenario, if you're doing a completely different set of analysis at a different time. And I can go ahead and bring back in my GeoBelt template by simply selecting it in the Templates menu and clicking Generate. Now, in a matter of seconds, all of my facilities have been re-added to my scenario, and my coverage definition has also been added back into my scenario, and I can see my legend has reappeared, and everything is accurate up to the new time period where my template has been loaded in. So you can probably see the power associated with templates, and I hope that you start to use templates in your everyday work as I know that I have. Thank you very much for watching, and please, as always, if you have any questions, get in touch with us at support@agi.com.